Awesome. Well, good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are coming from. Welcome to our Thursday's Q&A. And so today our topic is going to be questions to ask an employer. So my name is Xhesjana Lakaj. I am a recruiter consultant here at Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. So I am happy to kind of go do this Q&A with you guys. We'll be going through some slides today on just some good questions that you can ask your employer while you're interviewing for a U.S. position, and then also just some questions that maybe we want to steer away from. So at the end, we will have a section to do a Q&A, and also just in the chat, pop up and show us where you are coming from. So where you are watching this from, what country you are watching this from. It's kind of fun to be able to share. I am currently here in Utah, so I'm excited to be able to do this Q&A with you guys. So let's move to the next slide. Okay. So first, what I'm going to start off with is just talking about some good questions that that you would want to ask in your US RN interview. So just some key things to asking good questions. What it does is it shows interest, shows understanding and engagement with the interviewer and the organization. And it's a great opportunity for you to learn more about the company directly from the employer, for you to then make a good judgment and decision on whether, if you do get an offer, whether you want to accept that offer. Another thing to kind of keep in mind too is that during this time, employers want to also see that you are interested in their company and that you know about their company too. So another thing to kind of keep in mind in this too is that you do your research as well while you are before you interview, as you do your research and you look at the company's core values, what they believe, and then just doing some more research about even the unit online, even the unit that you are currently interviewing for. So next slide, please. Okay, so just some questions to keep in mind that you can ask in during your interview. For example, are again just questions related to the facility, to the hospital, such as patient ratio. For example, a good question would be, what is the patient ratio? Facility experience. So maybe like some specific questions geared to what they like about the facility, how they like working there, maybe what their day-to-day tasks look like in that unit. What are maybe some good things about the facility that they like, maybe some things that they don't enjoy within the unit. So maybe just some questions like that. Some other great questions are maybe ask about their location. So maybe asking them about what the best thing about living in that assigned location or hospital is, or maybe just something good about that location in general, or the area. Something else that you can ask is programs. So asking if are any nurse residency or nurse ladder programs, or any various programs regarding education too that you might want to ask. So also, another great question is asking about their professional development. So if they have any professional development opportunities that are available that you might want to seek out once you are, if you do get an offer and accept one once you are there. Also, continuing education, asking them if they offer any continuing education courses, or any reimbursements for that, as well as onboarding too. Onboarding is another great question. Asking, what the onboarding and preceptorship process is like. So these are just some great questions that you can ask. And again, more of just really focusing to, like I said, mentioned previously, mentioning, doing your research as well, and looking into thinking about, okay, what questions you want to know, as well as thinking about what are some questions that you want to ask about the facility that will help you make a good decision um, towards wanting to accept an offer if you are given the opportunity to be extended an offer. So next slide. Awesome. So I guess the next thing is just some questions maybe that you don't want to ask during an interview with the employer. In a lot of these cases, for example, the immigration process, your recruiter is the one that will have those answers. The person that will be interviewing you, they really don't know much about the immigration process. That's why they work with Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And so asking your Worldwide Health Staff recruiter about any immigration process questions, you can ask them those questions before the interview, or you can even ask them any questions that you have after. Something else too that we want to kind of steer clear from is maybe competitors. So we don't want to ask any questions about competing companies. Again, the biggest focus when you're interviewing and the questions that you want to ask is you want to get to know the company, so the hospital, the facility itself. You want to get to know them more, and so we don't want to ask maybe any questions regarding competing companies. Another question or something that we wouldn't want to ask is salary or bonuses. These topics wouldn't be handled by the nursing maybe manager or the person that would be interviewing you. So these topics are usually handled by other teams, such as human resources or talent acquisition, and your salary would be calculated based on your years of experience, as well as they will also be what also is taken into consideration is the cost of living in the area as well. So that is again something that the person that you would be interviewing with wouldn't know, have more information on. Awesome. Next question. Next slide. Okay, so something else to keep in mind that's very important too is that you end on a positive note. So at the end of an interview, after you have asked a few questions, it's important to maybe reiterate your interest, reaffirm your interest in the position in the company, maybe confirm your fit, and maybe highlight your experience and key aspects of your experience and fit for the role, as well as express your gratitude. Thank the interviewer for their time to interview you. So it's very important. Again, the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you leave on a positive note and that you express your interest in the interview. That's why it's so important to also keep in mind that you are also doing research on that you're doing research on the hospital, that you want to also get to know that employer the best as you can. As you're doing research on the hospital and just looking into kind of those key things that you want to know, that's also going to better help you to come up with questions that you're going to want to know about the facility. And then that's also going to help you kind of get a better understanding of the facility, and that will better prepare you for the interview. So just important to always end on a positive note, and really share their interest, share with the hospital that you are interested. The biggest thing when it comes to interviewing, or when it comes to the interviewer, is they want to know that the person they are interviewing shows an interest for the hospital, and they want to be part of that team. That's kind of one of the biggest things that they want to see when they're interviewing somebody. Next slide. Awesome. So those are just kind of a few great tips on questions to ask your interviewer. I'm happy to ask now. We're going to do the Q&A section. So I'm happy to answer questions that you guys might have regarding interviews, or as you are preparing for your interview right now, just some questions that you're interested in wanting to know.
All right, all right. Xhesjana, thank you for that presentation. And that's really helpful. Like all of the stuff that you mentioned or that you shared are really impactful, especially for our international nurses. So here's our Q&A session. And I've seen like a few questions from the chat. And so let's do it. And this question is from Rose. She said, "Hi, I have 12 years gap in my nursing care, and how can I start means any study I have to do, like maybe if applying with us or working in the
Awesome.
United States."
Yeah, Rose, thank you. So, you currently, to qualify for our RN positions, you will need to currently be working in bedside. So, if you have 12 years of experience and are currently not working in bedside, you will need to go back to working as an RN to then qualify for our opportunities, and also have taken and passed the RN NCLEX. If you previously worked for 12 years, maybe had a gap, and then now have gone back to bedside, if that is the case, then we would love to have one of our recruiters reach out to you. So, but if you're currently not working in bedside, then you would need to go back to bedside to then qualify for interviewing.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And this message is, this next question is about support. This is from Ezra. How can you help us when we decided to take NCLEX independently? And that means, do you help us for NCLEX study and process of application for the exam?
Yeah. So, in regards to that, I know that your recruiter will have some great resources there that you can reach out to your recruiter, and they'd love to share with you some of the resources that we have available in regards to practicing, and websites and things like that they can go to be able to practice for their NCLEX. So, yeah. I know that there are
Awesome.
some great resources, and I know our website might have some great things as well.
Awesome. Next question is from Xavier. Do you accept bedside experience as part time?
Yes, yes, we do. If you are working in bedside as part-time, we do also accept that.
That's cool. And I think that's the
Uh,
first time that I heard that because it's like that's the like minimum experience that we need. So yeah, part
yeah,
time.
so as long
Mm-hmm.
as they're working full-time or part-time, I would also have them speak to a recruiter on just the details of that, because I know that there's a certain amount of time
Mm-hmm.
that they need to be working, but definitely from what I know, yes. Then they can reach
Awesome.
out to a recruiter for more details on that.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. And how about let's have these questions. So about the topic, what if I don't have time to ask all my questions during the interview?
Yeah. So if you don't have to, that's why it's so important to kind of do your research and really figure out what are the main questions that you really want to know and ask, and kind of set up those, maybe have a top three questions. Usually at the end, the interview will give you about 5 to 10 minutes to ask your questions. So usually people ask about three questions, or kind of the norm that you can ask. So 2 to 3 questions, sometimes one, that's fine too. They want to just really, the employer likes to see your interest and your interest in the company, and you wanting to know more about them as they have interviewed you and are we're learning more about you. They also want you to know more about them as well. So it's kind of reciprocal in that aspect. So I would just try to find your top questions. I would also speak to your recruiter too, and share with them kind of the questions that you have in mind before. And let's say you have more than 3 questions, maybe there might be some questions that you have that they might have an answer to. That way, that might narrow down your questions. But that's why researching is so important, just to kind of come up with some really good, like um, really good questions that you really want to know.
Oh yeah, and I think that's important, really important to ask questions like at the end of the interview. Um, that will like give you a great impression that you really want to work with the company, something like that. And yeah, that's really important. Like like from my previous experience, I had like interviews that I didn't um, ask questions at the end of the interviews, and I think just show them that you are eager to get the position, like that. So next
Exactly. Yeah.
question: um, what questions can I ask to know if this is a good employer?
Yeah. So, kind of how we went through in the slide. Maybe you want to go back to that second slide, CJ. If we want to go back to that, the next one after that. Sorry, I think it was the third slide, maybe. Okay, yeah. So just to see kind of if they're a good employer, some of these questions would be great. Mostly the biggest thing that you might want to see, again, research, and then really asking them about the facility, just questions about the facility, and again, you when they're interviewing you, and at the end you can ask some questions. I believe that as you're asking them questions about the facility, and you've done your research, you then kind of will get to see if they're positive and they love the facility and they have a passion for it. Then maybe that's a great indicator that this is, a good employer. They're excited to be at work. They're happy, and when they show passion about what they do, you can definitely then tell that they're a good place to work at. And I've seen that a lot in my past experience and in my current job as well, when I've been interviewed, and also for this job when I've seen enthusiasm when it comes to the people that are interviewing me, when I ask them questions or when they talk about the facility or the area. When you see that joy and that enthusiasm, after I've been given an offer and accepted, I've definitely seen that this from the interviewer, that same passion, that same happiness, that same I guess environment. I've felt the same when I've actually been working in that area. So asking them just questions about kind of like that second question, what they like or recommend about working at the facility. Maybe you could ask what are some good things that you like about working there, maybe some things that you don't like so much. And that will kind of, questions like that will give you a better feel too.
Great, great. Okay, this next question: are U.S. employers still hiring even with retrogression?
Yes, yes. Even though there is a retrogression going on, U.S. employers are still hiring. So if you have taken and passed your NCLEX, if you have 2 or more years of RN bedside experience, and you're currently working as an RN, please reach out to please apply on our website. Or if you're already talking to your recruiter, reach out to your recruiter. They are amazing, and they would be happy to share with you our current openings and are also any upcoming openings that we have. I know we have some great options and great hospitals right now that they're recruiting for. So they would love to talk to you. So definitely feel free to apply. And then if you haven't taken or passed your NCLEX yet, definitely keep working on that. We're here waiting for you. That once you do pass your NCLEX, we have amazing recruiters that want to talk to you and want to help you start and continue your U.S. Journey here in the U.S. Whether you're outside of the North America or in North America, we'd love, and you're an international, we'd love to assist you.
Okay, awesome. And we're done with our last two questions, Jessiana. And this one
Perfect.
is from Mercy. I am 62 years old and I passed NCLEX last 2007. And since 2 years, I'm not working. Is it possible to get the job? And she has like 28 years of NICU experience.
Awesome question, Mercy. So, at this time, you will need to be working in bedside as an RN to qualify for our position. So, although you have some great experience, if you are planning to go back to bedside soon, we'd then love to assist you and then share our opportunities. So, yeah, right now it's very important that a bedside experience, current bedside experience would be very important.
Cool. And this is our last question, and it's from Ms.
Yeah.
Kavar. When employers tells you that we will reschedule another interview, including our executive, is that a good sign or otherwise?
Yeah. So sometimes employers will do that. Sometimes they'll schedule maybe another follow-up interview, and necessarily that's not a bad thing. That really can just mean that maybe the second executive or the second person that was going to be in an interview wasn't able to make it that day, and so before they make a decision on hiring you, they want to maybe have that other person be there and interview and interview you, and so that would lead to a second interview. So necessarily that is not a bad sign at all. It really just depends on the facility and the hospital. Sometimes, like I said, not everyone has crazy schedules, especially if you're, working in a hospital. And so sometimes those schedules don't line up, and that's why it's important to have a second interview. Or sometimes what can happen too is that maybe you do your first round of interviewers with a nurse manager, and then there's a second round that will need to happen with somebody higher up. But no, it's not a bad sign.
All right, thank you. So I still see questions from the chat, Jessiana, but for all the questions that we wasn't able to answer, you can go and chat with our live recruiters. I will put that on the chat right now. So they're waiting for you. Go to that link and ask any questions, and they will be more than happy to assist you. And also, let's go to the next slide and
Oh yeah, I
follow
was gonna
us.
say.
Yeah, follow us or and like us on Facebook for immigration updates and new positions. And also, we have scheduled webinars in the future. For example, next week we will have the our topic will be driving and commuting in the United States, and that's really a great webinar. If you are planning to go in the United States and to work in the U.S. Get more information about driving and commuting here. So I'll also put that on the chat, so you can put that in your calendar. and join our webinar next week. And also, here's our referral program that in every successful nurse that you refer with us, you'll get or earn up to $250. And I'll also put that on the chat so that you'll have an access to this great um, um, like a program that we have. Okay, so Jessiana, any last thoughts?
No, just the biggest thing again, I just want to reiterate is just when you are scheduled for an interview, just again, make sure that you prepare for your interview, make sure that you practice. Practicing is super important, especially, sometimes we get nervous, as well as do your research for your employer and just be positive and interested. And so, yeah. Um, I wish you guys all the best. Thanks for coming to this Q&A. And yeah, we have some great recruiters that are eager and excited to help you along this journey.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.